Oh, click, click. Okay. And then I'm going to pin. Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. I'm like 20 seconds from home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. We have
Oh,
time.
good. Good to see you.
You too. All right. I'm going to pin myself, do a few little logistical things. Hello, everyone who's here live and for the replay. And as I said in the email, you can invite a friend to come. I am just gonna double check that there's nobody emailing me saying, what about such and such? Okay, cool, cool, cool. And in a moment, I'm going to lead us through a few deep breaths and start tuning into what is the message that the whole group wants to hear, needs to hear. Sometimes when I do these monthly calls, we go a little bit over the hour, but today I'm going to have to stop right at the hour because I'm doing a podcast interview right after this. Mm. So, a few reminders or welcome if you're first time here. So, I always tune into the best, most helpful, most kind, loving, and clear supportive guidance for you for right now in the short term future. And we acknowledge that you are in control of your life. You get to make the decisions that you find are best. And we also hold ourselves with forgiveness for past choices that we've made that maybe didn't feel so great. Or that once we made the decision, we're like, oh, not the best decision. I am one of those people, as much as I love book learning, experiential learning is what sometimes is the one that teaches me, oh, I try something out. Now I see I don't like that. And I also think this about intuition. Every so often, I'll not follow my intuition about something small because I think, this sounds annoying. I don't want to have to do that. And then usually within the hour, I find out why my intuition was telling me that thing. And it's even more annoying because I didn't follow it. But I don't let myself beat myself up about it. I just tell myself, okay, this is my reminder why I follow my intuition. Because I found when I don't, I later am disappointed. And I'm acknowledging for all of us, even for myself, especially for me, following your intuition doesn't necessarily mean that everything is easy breezy, super clear and super high vibes all the time. I still have moments where I think, oh, that's what my intuition wants me to do. That doesn't make any sense at all. I don't want to do things that don't make sense. But that's okay. We can all get more comfortable with doing new things that may or may not make sense. So, moving into this theme of lemons into lemonade. So, you may have seen videos of the first time a baby tastes a lemon and they're chewing, biting into that lemon, and the surprise, the surprise that some of them are super excited, but usually it's like, ooh, that sour face. And then there are people who they dust sugar on the top of a lemon and then suck on it. How do you blend elements that might at first taste feel sour? How do you blend them into something that's more palatable? And we've all heard this turn lemons into lemonade, but think of how interesting and creative humanity is. We took this thing, straight lemon juice, that maybe you can have a few sips of it to ignite your liver or get it going. I forget what the correct term is here. evoke it, still not the correct term, but whatever, to get your liver going. But I don't think I've ever met somebody who drinks straight lemon juice more than a few tablespoons or a teaspoon on a regular basis. And yet we found, oh, you add some tablespoons of that with some sugar, with some water, you water these things down, suddenly it's so much more palatable. And not just palatable, but people are ordering it. People are making lemonade the drink of choice in the summertime. And so, how can we take those things that we have way more of than we need? Oh, got all these lemons. Oh, this lemon that I have to deal with. How can we add the sugar and water it down so that it becomes something highly desirable? I'm going to let your consciousness chew on that for a moment, play with that while I invite everyone to take a deep breath. Feel it go in through your lungs, in through your chest, in through your torso, down to your legs, to your knees, to your calves, to your feet, out to your toes. If you've never gone to an orchard before, I'm getting this call to ask you to, within the next year, make a point to go to an orchard. One of the most amazing things that you'll find when you go to an orchard is you see the trees, whether it's a lemon tree or an apple tree or whatever other kind of fruit tree it is. Could be a nut tree. And at the base of the tree, there's some of the fallen fruit, and all over the tree, it's covered. Orchards are such a powerful example of not only the abundance of nature, but a tree who's well cared for and has good roots and a good foundation can produce crops of fruit year after year after year. Yes, they do need fertilizer. Yes, they take time off. They don't double production year after year, like we talk about happening in economy, or people expect some businesses to do that. But with the right pruning, with the right support, with the right environment, these trees will produce an abundance of fruit. And it's really energizing to go see it in person and see rows and rows of apple trees or peach trees or orange trees, and to wonder at the the abundance of all of those fruits that one tree contains or that 10 trees in a row contain. It's also really delightful and energizing to see how nature shows us abundance. If you've spent any time online, you're really used to seeing people showing off their abundance. Oh, my car, my clothes, my whatever. And not that I'm judging this, but we get very used to these visual displays of wealth and abundance. And so it might evoke something in you that has some emotional or cultural meaning. And the frequency, though, of a tree who is endowed with this great abundance is going to evoke a different kind of sensation, a different kind of response most times. And also, if you had a lemon tree in your yard or a mango tree or a plum tree, and you weren't the type of person who ate a lot of that fruit or who knew how to preserve it, having that abundance could actually be a burden. It could actually create unhappiness or discomfort for you because, well, now it's just another job to deal with. So your point of reference can change, and it can change your experience of a fruit tree. Your point of reference can change about something in your life that feels like an abundance of lemons, and it can change how you feel about that. Your point of reference, if you allow it to shift, if you allow it to expand, if you allow yourself to add in other ingredients, other elements, you can start to see the situation differently. And something that has such a strong response, like drinking straight lemon juice, being super sour, can turn to something completely different, even though we're working with the same materials. And at the same time, I want to acknowledge time, because if you have what feels like life has given you lots of lemons right now, it's not always easy to the same day or the next day be like, look at all this lemonade I made. Aren't I so great? I handled this lemon situation so wonderfully. I connected with someone recently who she was sharing about having twins at home during the pandemic and how difficult it was. And we were all laughing about it because time has passed. In theater or comedy, they say comedy is tragedy plus time. And so as we're going through this today, I'm acknowledging that you may have an element of time that you need more time to have some of this transformation, or you might be perfectly ready in the time that we are in right now to turn your lemons into lemonade. Okay. So before I start getting into questions from the group, I'm going to have us all take in a deep breath and set the intention that what you came here to receive will be what you're receiving, and that you'll walk away with the emotions, the energy, the insight, and all of the expansion and excitement you need for what you're ready to get into next. Okay, so I guess we're ready to squeeze some lemons. If you have a question that you want to ask, you can raise your hand. And if you don't want to speak it out loud, you can also put it into the chat. You can ask your question that way as well. Did I see your hand go up, Jemima? Okay, you can unmute. That might be easier than me unmuting you. Oh, hold on. I can't hear you if you're talking. Will it let you unmute? Oh, no, I just lost the participants thing.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Okay, good.
Sorry, I'm on my phone. It's slightly different.
It is.
Yeah, but that's really helpful. Just looking at the lemons, because some of my lemons have been around for a long time. Some of them are new. So it's. I mean, I love everything that you just said. It's like because it's like we're all made of everything, aren't we? We're all made of the same thing as the stars, but in different amounts and different ways. So I would love to be able to turn my lemons into lemonade. And the most pressing one, I think, well, there's two areas, but I think it's the same thing. So one is my relationship, and one is my business.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with one or the other?
So with my relationship, it's suddenly got a different tact, and it feels like the tables have turned. Because when we started out, it was he was very much not into a relationship. I'm not looking for anything. This is just a bit of fun. And I was like, well, we'll see how long it lasts. And then 3 years later, I realized I've compromised on a few things because I didn't think it was going to last. And now that's sort of becoming an issue.
Mm.
And he's sort of feeling me pulling away a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not clingy, but more he's changing. So
Yeah.
it's I'm sort of questioning the whole thing because
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting to sell my flat to move in with him. And I'm like, well, it hasn't sold in a year. Maybe I'm not meant to. I have this doubt that
Mm-hmm.
kicks in. So I think the doubt is the lemon
Yeah.
because I have the same thing in my business. Like, is this the right thing?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Um, Tell me about the business too, because
Yeah,
sometimes the answer fits everything, and you see this common thread already.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what doubt
So
looks like there, or what you want to not have doubt about.
yeah, so I'm just launching a retreat, which I've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
I've paid a deposit. It's in Turkey in October, so it's a big deal, and
Mm-hmm.
I need to sell the places to cover the costs of what I've already paid. So there's the kind of practical element, but I really want it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, the doubt is like, have I just bitten off more than I can chew? Is this the right thing? It's too late. I'm
Mm.
in. So there's that
Yes.
same. I'm in it now. Do I make it work? How do I make it work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and just feeling weak, really, like
Mm.
powerless around it, and that if I go for it, it's not going to work. That's how the
Mm.
doubt
Mm-hmm.
undermines me. I want to say,
Mm-hmm. Yes. I also want to bring up something. You didn't say this, but this is a fear that I feel like is bubbling up. I'm just breathing through it because I feel it all over. Similar to in the relationship, there's this things have changed. I didn't think it would last, so then I compromised, so now here we are. I feel that there's a thing in business about, well, what if that changes? What if I'm making compromises? What if I'm not exactly saying all the right things, but I feel like there is a similar feeling in it of like, well, what if what if I do this retreat and I hate it? I don't really think you're thinking that, but there maybe
yeah,
is a part of you that is unsure about how it's going to go because it's just unsure. And what else was I going to say about this feeling? Yeah. They're just showing me the lemons from your past rolling in, being like, "Blah, blah, blah."
yeah,
Some of the doubt is from the old fears of we've all done things that were either coping mechanisms or just plain bad choices.
mm.
And I'm not saying that you're making any bad choices, but there is a part of you that's like, what if this is another bad choice? What if this
Yeah.
is
I
another
literally had that conversation. Is this me starting a new pattern in order to get into loads of
right?
debt? Because I'm
Yeah.
now in debt again, having this time last year I
Mm.
wasn't in any debt, having been in debt my
Mm-hmm.
entire adult life. Now I'm in debt again. It's like
Mm. Yes. And the debt is because you paid the deposit.
partly, yeah, and because I wasn't bringing enough money in.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. I'm just gonna pause for a second and see. Okay. They show me like loop-de-loop. So I'm gonna a little bit talk about the relationship, really big dive into the business, and then we'll see where we go after that.
Okay, thank you.
What I feel about the relationship, and again, you do what you want of what I say or whatever variation of this. I get the sense of what if, as you didn't exactly say you were pulling away, or maybe you did. You said you're making changes, or that's what I heard. But he's kind of maybe being clingy. What I got this sense of, what if you had a period of time this summer, let's say, where you're both trying to kind of turn over a new leaf and have a fresh start to the new relationship. I mean, it's the same relationship, but like, let's renew it. But also, when you've been with someone for a while, it can really help to have space when you're trying to renew something, because if you're around them all the time, it can be hard for that. So if you're able to take a little bit more space and say, let's renew this, let's let's both come together in the moments where it's good and make it this great thing, and then have time to go do our other things. Again, you change the words however you want to. But
Yeah.
what I'm sensing is, and this is why I'm going to move into the business next, if we don't know, the relationship involves another person. And yes, theoretically business does too, but that's not where we're going with this today. And so there are only so many things you can do. And I feel if you're giving the relationship some space and you're letting it kind of turn over a new leaf to be a new relationship, you can use whatever mental or emotional energy that you could put into how do I make the relationship work, and say, I'm not going to worry about how it works. We're just going to let the summer be us turning over a new leaf, letting it have some space, because you have a big priority, which is to sell this retreat. I feel so good about this retreat. I feel really good about you selling it too. But I also feel like if you're feeling divided and trying to like figure out how to make the relationship work, that's not giving it space to have a new leaf.
Mm.
And that's energy and attention you could be putting into, let's get more people hearing about this retreat.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to move into the business, talking all about that. And I can't remember if you're an extrovert or introvert or both. But I really get the sense of, as you're having space, turning over new leaf or whatever, what if you're just going around the city or your town this summer, being in new environments, telling everybody about this exciting thing you have planned? And to me, it feels like a glass of lemonade that you are inviting people to come drink with you, and it feels amazing. And I get the sense of, if if we're powerless and that it's already committed, then the only thing to do is make sure enough people are excited about knowing what you're offering so that they can go. And so the other thing is, there are so many people that either you're connected to, or they're connected to someone you're connected to, or you could meet them at a thing, who this is just what they need. Like, tell me more about this retreat so that we can all know why we need it.
So
I want to
it's
hear the good parts about it. Why is it
oh
like a big glass of lemonade?
it's, for a start, it's in a beautiful place. It's a converted Turkish farmhouse. It's
Ooh.
15 minutes for walk from the beach. It's got its own pool. It's all like beautiful original tiles, rust, beams. So the space is beautiful. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's over 4 days, and it's the first
Mm.
day's introduction, then it's past, present, future. So the first day we're looking at the past, why we do what we do.
Ooh.
The second day is the present, we're being very mindful, and then
Mm.
the future, what do you want next? And my best friend's coming. She's a Pilates teacher, so she's going to do some movement. We're going to
Ooh.
explore the environment as well. Go out for dinner somewhere traditional.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really for people who are ready to find their next chapter. So like empty nesters,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of place. And that's what I'm finding with a lot
Mm-hmm.
of my clients. I've just started doing soul realignment readings. It's just landed on my
Mm.
lap this year, the last few
Yeah.
weeks. And it's gone off the scale. I've never had so much interest. And everyone's like, I don't know why I needed it. I don't know what it is, but I knew I needed one. So
Uh-huh.
it's accessing the Akashic records, finding the blocks and restrictions and clearing them.
Yes.
So there's a slight, like, that's not what I've done for 15 years.
Yes.
Although it is really, but it's a different
Uh-huh.
way of accessing the information. So there's a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of like, um, I guess, integration,
Yes.
which may be causing a bit of like, how do these things tie together? Do I let that go? Or do I,
Mm.
it's like, how do I manage these different skills? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, the retreat is a really held experience. I'm bringing a caterer, and the food's going to be amazing. It's going to be
Mm.
beautiful every aspect. Like, it will be lemonade.
Yeah,
Um,
it will be.
yeah. So
So, oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, it's just, how do I get my feeling of that into the conversation? That's
Mm-hmm.
when I'm selling it, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And how do you typically feel about the selling process? Let's like take away retreat. Like, how does selling
Yeah.
feel to you
Well,
normally?
up until this year, it's been
Mm-hmm.
100% referral.
Uh-huh.
So it's been fairly straightforward. My friend told me
Mm-hmm.
about you. I do talks. I've just started giving more talks. I'm doing one Wednesday night, sold out. Well, it's free talk, but it's
Yes.
oversubscribed. I gave a talk on
Yeah.
Friday. I'm going to do some workshops. I've got some live events. That's how I used to get clients, live
Mm-hmm.
events. They'd come and see me talk and then they'd want to book in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
reigniting that side of things. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel better about selling it because it doesn't feel like selling. But at the
Yes.
same time, I know the figures and I need
Yes.
the cash in the bank because,
Yes.
I was down to £7 this month. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, can't live like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
anymore.
So is okay. And if I go in this direction and it feels like I'm getting it wrong, just tell me. But is there, because you've had so many referrals, has it almost allowed you to avoid direct selling because it almost just happened?
Yeah, pretty
Yes.
much. Yeah. Every
Yes.
every social media campaign I've done, any newsletter, I have never got anything from social media. I've never got
Uh-huh.
anything. Occasionally from my newsletter, someone, but they're an existing
Yes.
client. So I've
Mm-hmm.
never had any sales other than referrals or
Mm-hmm.
directly from a talk.
Yes. Yes. So So two things. How would you feel if you just kept that method and applied it to the retreat? Or do you feel like, I might need more this time?
I think I need more.
Okay.
Um, I really, in the last few weeks, it's been like the world is different. I
Mm-hmm.
need to catch up. That's what
Mm-hmm.
kind of I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling.
Yeah. Okay. And when you prior to this relationship, when you used to meet somebody new, do you feel like you could flirt with them, or would you say you're bad at flirting?
Probably bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there an area of life that's either like flirting or like selling or maybe dancing where there's this interplay with people or things that you would say, "Oh, I'm good at that." Do
Good
you
at
do?
dancing. Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought I remembered that.
I love dancing and I love
Mm,
singing. I don't do that with
mm.
anyone, but I love
Okay.
dancing. And I'm like, me and my boyfriend, we love being right in the middle of the dance floor and just, we love
Yes.
that.
Yes. Okay. Hmm. So if and does selling now feel almost like if you sell something, it might make people retreat rather than come closer?
Yeah. That's years ago. My friend and I used to make things and sell them on a market. And you'd literally, someone would come up and you say hi and they'd walk away.
Yeah.
Literally, like all the time. So you're like, I'm not making eye contact. Yeah, it was so difficult.
Yes. Yes. Mm, I know what you mean. Yes. So I feel, um, well, a few things. One, I really believe you can sell this retreat. And I don't know if now is the best time to totally revamp your view of selling because there might be a lot around that idea and that word.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking around to
Yeah.
see, aside from dancing, how can we I think if you well, a few things. If you start believing that telling people about the retreat, inviting them to the retreat is more like asking someone to dance. If they don't like the music and they don't want to dance, they'll tell you, and you're not. I'm assuming if you asked a partner to dance and they didn't want to, you're not, oh, great, nobody wants to dance. I
Yeah.
guess I'm the only one who wants to dance, and I booked this whole room, and I'm the sole dancer. Um, we can assume if you ask someone and they say, oh, I don't like dancing or I don't like that music. Well, there's probably three other people next to them who you could say, okay, and you just move on and ask the next partner.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, well, a few things. I can picture if you had some small cards, almost like a postcard or maybe business card size if you prefer that. But I get the sense of a postcard that has a picture or two and a QR code and some info about this that you can start giving out. You can ask some patrons at shops, you go, can I put this up? Because this is so perfect. And just like when somebody's had a bad breakup or they got divorced or it's their first time going out after they had a kid, they need that night of dancing because they need to cut loose, have some fun, make it all about them.
Yeah.
Same thing with your retreat. These people who are starting a new chapter, they need this because if they just try and review their life at home, it's not going to
Yeah.
give them what
Not
this
going to get
retreat
you.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, same as asking someone out to a night of dancing, you inviting them to this, those that want it, like that's exactly what they need. And there's nothing else that'll give them that feeling.
Mm.
Just like the feeling you get after a night of dancing, there's almost nothing else that gives you
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really also can picture if you can create, it's almost like an elevator pitch, but maybe a different phrase because people don't always like that phrase of, I wrote down one of the things that I like about what you're doing is there's this visual beauty, so that feeds people. There's movement included, which is so essential, and great food. That's just in addition to all the other stuff too, a new location. So I picture you could craft some short 2 lines about, oh, I planned this retreat with the best food. And then even if you don't know everything the caterer is going to serve, share a few things. Do you know anybody who has really been wanting to get away and eat good food? I don't know. That might not be how you open it. You might
Yeah.
play around with it, but I really see for the people who are all into the visuals, that's one approach that you like hook people with. For the
Yeah.
people who, oh, I can walk to the beach and there's a pool on site and all of that, that's how you hook them. Those people might not care about the food, or they might be like, food is nice, but you tell me I can walk to the ocean, here's my money.
Yeah.
And then the foodie people, I'm one of those people. Well, I love all of these things that I just mentioned, but
Yeah.
if I know there's great food, oh yeah, that and everything else. So I think having these three talking points, and the thing I'm getting so clearly right now, which it kind of cracks me up, is I get the feeling, let's say 2 days from now, you're out with some friends, you tell them about it, and you're talking about the beauty part of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then 3 weeks from now, you're telling the same friends, but you're talking about the movement part. I swear there's going to be somebody who's like, oh, you mean it includes this? Why didn't you tell me before? And they are all of a sudden having to just sign up because now they know it's got that thing to it. So, I, yeah, I'm going to see if there's anything else I want to say about this. Oh, yes. This sometimes I get so much information that I'm like, did I cover everything? So I haven't explicitly said this, but I feel like if I could put this in bold as a title headline, tell as many people as you can about this all summer long. And I really get this sense of, not that email and social can't work, but I totally see this exchange of you talking to people, you talking when it's your workshop, you chatting with the person at the whatever place, even if you're, I don't know why this is that, but you're buying cheese somewhere and you're talking to the person who works there, even if in your mind you're like, they work at the cheese store. How are they going to afford this trip to Turkey? Tell them about it anyway,
Yeah.
because maybe even though they only make whatever per hour, they just received an inheritance and that's exactly what they need to start their next
Yeah.
chapter because they don't want to work in the cheese store forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I think also, and this may, you may have gotten this already, but I just want to like make sure that I highlight it. If it's, if you're not consciously thinking, how do I get people to buy? How do I sell this? And more, you're just telling people how great this is. That is what will let them engage and make it a yes for them. And so the more, and I think also, yeah. Okay. This is why we're not consciously trying to be like, how do we change our opinion about sales this summer? It's more if you talk your butt off all summer long about this, by the end of the summer, you will feel different about sales because you will have been finding naturally your own way of sharing with the people what they want. And it
Mm.
won't feel like you're coercing them into it. It's really going to be, you inviting them out to the thing they wanted anyway. They just didn't know when and where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels really exciting. And
Me,
just like
yeah,
sharing.
it does. Yes, I love that.
Mm.
And back to the postcard thing. I don't, they're giving me lots of like oranges and reds and like rich colors that kind of evoke that feeling of, I don't know, whatever the feeling is that you feel that the place had. Like to me, I wouldn't call this a calming experience. It feels more energizing
Mm.
and like a fresh start. Um, Not that there won't be moments of calm, but
Yeah.
I love the idea of you having these postcards, mailing them out, giving them all over, putting them up on bulletin boards. So much so that you might even be like, are people getting sick of me handing out these things? But the other part of this is that I really get a strong sense of there's the people who it can't be a yes this year, but they want it to be a yes for next year. And it's like I see them putting the postcard on their bulletin board being like, next year, that's me.
Well, I've got dates for this time next year as well. I'll be there.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. And for people, I know it's an expense to make a postcard, and it's something tangible that people can hold on to
Mm.
that they can put on a vision board or fixate on. And
Yeah.
so I think that's one of the other things I like about it.
Yeah. That's fabulous.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
You're
But
welcome. Okay. I think I'm going to move on. I see that Julie's here. I don't know if she wants to ask a
thank you, thank
question
you,
or
thank you.
not. Thank you, Jemima.
Thank you. I'm going to send you a postcard.
Oh, yeah, you should. Turkey's on my list of places to go. Julie, if you want to put a question in the chat, you don't have to ask anything out loud if you don't want to. And I'm just going to stretch and drink some water. Oh, and turn off my alarm.
I really wanted to just hop on and say thanks for your email I got
Oh, you're
um,
welcome.
about the migraines. It was super
Mm-hmm.
helpful.
Oh, good. I am so glad.
Yeah. So thank you
Ah,
for that.
you're welcome. I appreciate
And I'm
you
glad I could
coming.
make it today. It just hadn't
Yeah,
worked
me
out,
too.
but I'm glad that even though I was a little late, sorry about that, but things just
Oh,
came
that's
up and
okay.
here we are.
Yes. And at the beginning, I give like a message for the whole community. So when you get the replay, you can listen to that and
Sure,
it
I
may
will.
be, yeah, I think you'll like it. Um, if you want, we have time, if you want to ask a question, or if you want me to go into question that I answered before in more depth, or about anything else. The floor is yours if you wish.
I guess just something that's been coming up a lot is obviously my diet. I need to get a bit healthier.
Mm.
But I'm wondering if I have some sort of um food aversion or in
Mm.
sensitivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me look into that. Oh, and it's funny because the first thing they're telling me about is cheese, which I don't know about you, but
No,
cheese is
no,
hard to give
no,
up.
no.
So let me see what else there is that I could see for you, Julie. Hmm. Okay. So I might have to take notes because there's a few things. Okay. So I don't know how much this isn't food related, but I think we'll get there eventually. I mean, I know we'll get there eventually. The first thing I'm getting is this sense of you relaxing and having dedicated relaxation time every day. And maybe you do this already, but I know most of us who are busy, it can be very easy to have every minute of the day you're doing something, and then you're like, oh, and now it's late, better crash into bed. And the sense of relaxing feels like the kind of relaxing when you're sitting in a lounge chair and you just let yourself daydream. Obviously, relaxing with a show or in a bath or whatever is nice, but, and it doesn't have to be that every day you give yourself time to just zone out and daydream. If you're anywhere near a beach, if you could every few weeks let yourself get out there so you can sit on a lounger, look at waves. If it's not a beach, it could be a lake. Um, let yourself have more time relaxing. And I know the productive parts of us can be like, but there's so much to do. And it's like, yes, and every body, literal body, needs time to recharge. Every every Olympic or high performance athlete knows that the recovery time is actually almost more important than active time or practice time. There's this one basketball player. I don't watch basketball, even though my husband loves it. And so I never remember anybody's name. But anyway, he's super famous. I think it was LeBron they were saying this detail about. LeBron got obsessed with recovery time because he learned that with recovery time, he could have longer performance than most other people in the NBA because he prioritized that. And so if we can treat relaxation like this is as important as the actual work time because it's when we recharge, sometimes that can help shift. So that's the first one. Okay. I feel like there's some cheese that may not be the best for you. And I'm not going to ask you to give it all up because I know what you mean. Like cheese tastes good, but I get the sense of can you if you like keeping track of things, get a thing where you track like, okay, I ate this cheese. How did I feel for the next 2 days? And because what I'm getting is there's one or two that for whatever reason are gonna trigger things more than others. And you may even want to then, like, let's say you start out with cheddar. I would move from cow's milk to goat's milk or sheep's milk. Try and do a transition like that from one that you're trying to the next so that there's enough of a difference because it might be something like, oh, right now, goat or sheep milk cheese doesn't bother you, but cow milk does. So you'll just shift it to this. Um, the other thing is looking at, you may just really want to hone in on what are the ones that you like? What are the aspects of it that you like? Can you go local or go organic? Because it's quite possible, if it's not organic, that there's something in that animal's environment that by the time the cheese gets to you, there's enough going on there that is not great for your system. So, and an important thing is to, if you can treat this like a summer experiment. I don't know if you came in soon enough when with Jemima, we were talking a little bit like a summer experiment, but this is not something that is going to feel good if it feels like a job or a task where it's like, and now I have to do this. More, what if it's an invitation to explore and experiment for a in a fun way for this summer? And you might challenge yourself, well, I got to try out a new kind of cheese because I'm experimenting, and let yourself have the joy of experimenting and trying new things. Okay, there's more that I'm going to say about this. So, as you are looking at your diet, one of the things I get is, so let's say you're relaxing. Not relaxing and snacking would be really good. I don't know if you do that already. My kids are notorious for relaxing and snacking. Like, I feel like that's all that they do. Or, I mean, if they're relaxing, they're snacking. And sometimes I'll do it more, but then I notice when I get in a habit of not doing it, it's almost like how multitasking is. It's like you can do it, and sometimes it feels nice to have things going together, but sometimes it feels really nice just to say, my relaxing time, watching a show is just watching a show. It's not watching a show and eating popcorn or chips or whatever. Um, yes. And so with that, this is kind of like another, I'm seeing almost like today I'm getting these spiral symbols, or like flowers that kind of spiral together, however you might draw one in a doodle. So kind of spiraling out from that to make another circle is every, as much as possible, you want to be enjoying what you're eating. And sometimes life can get busy enough that we're like, we're just eating just, for fuel and whatnot. But I really feel like, just like you want to relax, and when you're relaxing, that's what you're doing. That's purely what you're enjoying. The things that you're eating, you're really enjoying them. And noticing and having a communication with yourself, like if something makes you feel bad afterwards, then that's not really like a whole circle enjoyment experience. And 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 yet it can be hard if we have like positive memories associated with certain things. Or like my husband and I, we used to always eat fried seafood when we went to Maine in the summer, but then it started making us feel bad. And then we were sad for a season because we thought, oh, no more fried seafood for us because it always makes us feel terrible the next day. And and now I feel like we're just at the point where we're like, whatever, like we just enjoy other things, or we have a small portion of fried seafood, but we don't get the whole platter and split it with the two of us. So it's it's okay to have the range of emotions as you're changing thing, how, or realizing that your food preferences are changing. But yes, and I know I just said this, but I just want to clarify, or like reiterate, rather emphasize that I get the sense of, if your brain can really connect that if something makes you feel bad later, that even if it tastes good at the time, that this whole circle thing is like, that doesn't make you feel good. And letting yourself be kind of the parent who says, you know what, we're not going to have that because it makes us feel bad. But what's something else that we could have in place of that that would be good, or that you would enjoy? And again, that gets into this whole summer experiment. Also, I know like for when my family, when we travel in the summer, we like to try out new foods. But if we're not too careful, like it just becomes, especially with my kids, they just want to get ice cream everywhere we go. And I'm like, this is just out of control here. And so we've been talking in our house, like, how do we have new traditions that don't just involve ice cream everywhere we go or buying a souvenir everywhere we go? Because we don't want to have a ton of stuff either. And so some of the time, like what this summer experimenting can be is, what are pleasures or relaxing things that don't involve food that would be really enjoyable? Because we tend to build up, like I said, all of these experiences and memories with food, even though over time we change as people. Let me think if there's anything else to say about diet. I'm going to look a little bit more, but am I on the right track with where, is this helpful for you?
Yeah, it is. One clarifying question I have is
Yes.
cheese only or dairy? Okay.
Yeah, let me ask about that. So I get the sense of, well, one, the big thing they're telling me is it's up to you. You decide what you want to do. And if it feels delightfully experimental to try it out, you will have and be like a scientist, but a scientist who's having fun, not a scientist who's feeling rigid about it. It would be easier, let's say, if you cut out the dairy and then just tried the
Reintroduced
cheeses
it.
by themselves. Yes.
Yeah, do a
And
little elimination diet.
yes, and I will also say I've done this myself generally. Like I almost have no dairy except I have cheese. And oh, yeah, Jemima knows a lot about food. And she says Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Pell was really good. Awesome. I'm going to see if there's the rest of that comment that I should read out. Oh, different foods on different days depending on your cycle. Yes. And
That has been coming up a lot on my Instagram.
oh,
I know it's pretty,
good.
but maybe it's a message, right? The whole
Yes.
cycle, eating what, yeah.
And you
Mm-hmm.
may, because I'm getting circles today, like obviously you could, the calendar runs in lines and rectangles and squares, but I would love if you tracked, had a visual that you're tracking that's in a circle, because that's what we're working with here. And that might help you to pinpoint things at different times. The other thing I'll say, and forgive me if I just said this, I don't remember, but I found it a lot easier to cut out every dairy but cheese. And I noticed a benefit personally, even if I had no dairy but cheese. And so yes, it'll also be easier for you to see wherein are the ones that like fit with you best and those that don't. And again, I'm feel like I'm going to emphasize this like 5 times. Your pleasure or your delight in this is paramount. So whatever you can do that makes this feel more fun. Like I said, if I love going to like a place where they have a ton of cheese and you can try some samples and whatever, and being like, I'm going to select the really nice cheese if this is the only kind I'm having this week. Then it's not like restrictive feeling, it feels enjoyable. Because if I really feel like if it feels restrictive, you're not going to either be able to see the effects, or it's going to be harder to keep this up consistently. And for whatever reason you're doing this, the end goal is feeling good. And we want to make the whole journey feeling good, because there's enough things in life that don't make us feel good. And so it's like, let's just say like this gets to be as enjoyable as possible. And people who like the unenjoyable path, well, they can go live their lives somewhere else. All right. You're welcome, Julie. Okay. I'm gonna see if there's any other final messages for the day. I'm not gonna take any new questions because I gotta make sure to end on time today. And yeah, I think this is good for all of us to really, well, a few things. One, to have a summer experiment if you want, where you're like, we're just gonna try it out. Also, from my background as of a scientist, when scientists are doing experiments, yes, they usually have a hypothesis how it's going to turn out. I mean, I say usually, they do. And they let themselves observe what's happening when they're in the experiment. So let yourself observe, let yourself have fun. Whatever makes it more fun for you is going to make the whole process better. And at the end of the summer or the end of the experiment, you'll have had a good time, learned something new, and hopefully improved your life overall. Also, then the next season, you might start a whole new experiment with something that maybe it feels harder, but we've already then gotten versed in this, let's make it fun, this process. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to say about that. Yeah, and you may want to track your mood or cycle as you're doing this. Get a circle on paper, because that can help amplify what you're doing, and you'll notice if there are connection points. And as you're noticing your mood, you can also see, oh, wow, I haven't felt good about this for 8 days. Okay, maybe it's time to add something else to this experiment or to take a new look at it. There are enough serious things that we've all had to experience, or that is gonna outside influences are gonna impact us. So let's make this, whatever new thing you're stretching into, as enjoyable as possible. Because there will be moments where the moods are going to be like, oh, great, I'm not having cheese, or oh, great, I got to talk to 5 more people about this business thing. And then we're stretching outside of our comfort zone, and that's uncomfortable. But if we can make it enjoyable as much as possible, it'll be easier to ride the waves of discomfort as you're trying out something new. So, wishing you both, you all, everyone listening to the replay, a super fun month of experimenting, making lemonade or whatever you like that's of that lemonade-y vibe, variety of drink, and wishing you all the luck for fun. Oh, I had meant to do, I didn't set this up yet, but I'm going to go do it afterwards. If you go to my scheduler and book a session and use the redeem code lemons is the keyword, the not password, code word, you can get 10% off a session. And I think it may also, I'm going to set it up so there's a package of 4 sessions you can get that you can schedule through my website, and you can use that 10% off lemons for the package of 4 too. However, I'm going to look at the date real fast. That's only good till Friday. So it'll expire Friday. It's a quick summer fun advantage. I don't always remember all the words I want to say. Advantage, whatever. Coupon. You know what I'm saying. All right.
Rachel, excuse me, Rachel. It
Yeah,
does say on your website, online scheduling is currently unavailable, or not currently available.
I need to
I
look at
think.
that.
I'll put this in the chat. It's the link that I'm using, if
Oh,
that's helpful.
yeah, that's good to know. Okay, because it should be available. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Weird.
I just
No.
clicked it from your email, the link from your email, and that's what it brought up. So
Oh my God. I've been in communication with my scheduler, Acuity, because we had some issues last week. And I don't know what happened, but this is an even bigger issue than was
I'm sorry.
before.
Oh,
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
don't have to be
Monday.
sorry.
At
I'm
least you
glad you
can
told
look at
me.
it, right?
I do not know what's going on. So I'm going to reach out to them right after this and find out. Thank you. All right. Once
Have
it's
a great day. Thanks.
working, it will work. The
Thank
code
you.
can work. If any of you want to book with the code and you can't book through there, I can always invoice you through PayPal. So just let me know. All right. Have a great day, everyone. See you next month at the call, or you can do a private session with me. All the love. Goodbye.